with regards to disciplining one's wife. You
Yeah.
had some very interesting points of view, and feel free to not censor yourself.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't also want to get any hatred or anything, but I'm just speaking, because I think that a lot of women who do have views similar to, I guess yours in a sense, don't speak up, or maybe they're just not known. But I was telling your wife that I am actually in favor of the concept of domestic discipline, and what that is I just do believe that men are the one who are in charge of their wives, and they have a say over their wives. And I believe this is the Islamic way. This is the Sunnah. This is not something, Islam does not promote this feministic idea that men and women
So,
are
what
equal.
was the word that you used just now? Domestic discipline.
Yeah, domestic discipline. I'm in favor of domestic
What does that
discipline.
mean? Please, what does that mean, Luqman? Please tell me. What does that mean?
Well, you can have negative discipline and then you can have positive discipline. And I am in favor, first, obviously, always do things positively, of going with domestic discipline, which is basically just having corrective consequences, letting your wife know there are corrective consequences to her action.
I like, these are excellent words. Well, I'm gonna take these words down. I'm gonna write them down. What corrective consequences? MashaAllah, I need to learn these words. Tayyib, what does corrective consequences mean?
Well, it's different from punishment necessarily. Like you can have punishment, which is more so just a penalty for doing something wrong, or you can let your wife know there are corrective consequences to her action, which is just letting her know. It's more so an approach that allows her to know that if she does something, she's not going to get away with it. It does not mean it has to be abusive. It does not mean that he's a sadist and that he seeks pleasure in harming her or humiliating her. But it's just letting her know that when you take a certain course of action, there are consequences for those actions, and you're not just going to get away with it. And I support this because I do believe that being a husband is similar sort of to being a mom to children. Like, that might sound controversial.
Let me just hang on that. That being a husband is similar to being a mom to children. Please explain that for me, sister.
Well, I think is that like the same way that moms have to guide their children to correct understanding of how the rules are in the household and how they should behave. I strongly believe that a good husband, a good righteous husband, I'm not talking about, some slum or some lousy men, but a good husband, a good man is meant to guide his wife and to correct his wife to be to be a woman that Allah has set forth for her to be, and it's his responsibility and duty to correct her, because women don't have these same kind of natural. They're very emotional. They see the world in a different light than men do. And so men are more judicial. They have more understanding of like right and wrongs and consequences, and they are the disciplinary ones. They're supposed to be the disciplinary ones. Today, we don't really see that because the roles of a man and woman are so blurred. We have all this LGBT thing going on that we no longer know what it means to be a true man and a true woman. But I do believe that a husband's job, is to guide his wife to behave in such a way that she would present him honorably, or the household honorably, and present her.
And let me add to that, Luqman, as well, because it's interesting that you say this, and I really like this word, corrective consequence. I'm going to adopt this word for future, inshallah, for my future streams. But and I was explaining this to one of my friends the other day. When your wife knows that you are not afraid to take corrective consequences, Tayyib,
yeah,
you usually don't actually have to do it.
Exactly.
This is the beauty, you see.
Right.
Is that because she knows that there is a potential consequence, therefore, let's not push it over that line.
Right, because a good woman, she doesn't want chaos either in the household. And I know my husband's boundaries. I know I know what not to cross him on and things like that. And so I don't want to create problems within the household, because and those were things that I had to learn from him because of his stern, strict consequences that he would enforce on me. Because I came from a household that was completely different from the way he conducts himself. Like my household was very opposite. And I knew at first.
Very opposite in what regard?
Like he's very timely, he's very disciplined, he likes things to be done a certain way. And my family growing up was very chaotic and spontaneous, and 5 minutes meant like 5 hours. But my husband, it's like he's very punctual and things like that. And so it was a very sort of different culture for me. And the way he sort of had these corrective consequences on me, I knew that if I had told them, it wasn't like it was abusive, definitely, but I knew that his stern way of speaking. He would lecture me a lot, and he would try to explain to me why this is wrong, and he wouldn't let me speak over him. He would never let me speak over. He would never. He would just. I would have to stay silent and listen to him, and he would not let me leave the conversation until I actually understood what I did wrong and admitted to it. And it was kind of, I guess, like, in to other people's point of view, it would be patronizing. It was as if he was speaking to me, but I understood that this was correct for him to be doing this to me. But I
And
knew that,
let
yeah,
me just provide some context for the audience as well, Luqman. When we say corrective consequence, guys, I'm not saying to flipping abuse your wife and disfigure
exactly,
her. This is not what we're
right,
talking about. What we're talking about is, well, first of all, Allah has mentioned the ayah in the Quran. Okay,
yeah,
I don't want to paraphrase the ayah, but you know the ayah with regards to this issue in the Quran. Now, some of the ulama said you should take a miswak and hit her with the miswak. Basically, it's more of the metaphor as opposed to the actual action itself. But some of them said no, you can use a little bit of force, not to hurt her or to this, but just for her to know, hey, wake up,
right, exactly.
be careful.
It's not to be a sadist against her. You're not A husband should
Exactly.
not be sadistic. It's not to hurt her. It's not to humiliate her. But she will, in a sense, feel hurt or humiliated because no one likes to be punished. No one likes to
Mm.
be, I'm sorry, corrected. I mean, like, it hurts her ego, and she's gonna feel sad, and she might feel angry at you for it. But in the long
But
run,
she
she
will
likes
respect
it.
you for it. She likes
Exactly.
it
I
in the
highly
long.
respect. Yeah.
So I overtalked you there. I'm sorry. You said in the long run she likes it. You're absolutely
Yes.
right. And there is a disconnect. And I want the audience to understand this. There is a disconnect between what a woman likes and what a woman respects.
Exactly.
Oftentimes
Yeah.
there is a disconnect. She might not like it, but she will respect it.
Exactly.
Equally, she could like something, but she won't respect you for it. And
Right.
there is a disconnect there.
And I will push back. Sometimes I have pushed back on my husband when he's, like, correcting me. I don't like the way it makes me feel. I will tell him, like, "You're being rude, you're being a jerk, you're being a meanie head," like, whatever it is, and he does not care. He's like, "You need to hear this out, and you need to hear it out now, and I'm not gonna push this under the rug. I'm not gonna procrastinate this. You did something wrong, and you need to face the consequences of your actions." And I don't like it, and I will sometimes, I might talk back to him or something, and he will tolerate that because he knows himself that that's another habit that I need to lose. But in the bigger picture, that he's like, focus on this problem right now. And that's not something that I grew up with. My parents, my family was not disciplinary. They were very easygoing and very lenient. But I respected my husband definitely. Like, I might get hurt, in that 1 hour period, I'm hurt. But then I have like a 2 second rebound rate, and I'm back to, like, wanting to, I understand in the, like, after my feelings fade away, logically, my logic side comes out again. I'm like, yeah, actually, he was right about that. I made a mistake. And I will come back to him, and I still am working on having to apologize, but he'll see that I apologize in different ways by actions and being sweet to him again. And I believe that that's why we have such a structured household. If he had been like, the way I grew up, I would not love to live in a family like that. I like that my family, that my husband and my kids, we know what is right and what is wrong. And we're still learning, obviously. We're not perfect, but I needed, that's what I value as a man. And I think most women would too, but they just don't know it many times. They don't know what it means to be a strong, righteous man because they're so used to seeing what everyone else is doing in society, and they don't see the value in being disciplined.
SubhanAllah. Well, I can't blame, to be honest. This is why the channels like this are so important, because men have been raised in with a false understanding or false education of what type of behavior a woman loves and respects. So if you like that clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.